Yeah, I could do a CWJ tutorial. First of all, I'm going to teach you how to do a CWJ properly. To talk about CWJ and how you set it up, it's important to talk about the room leading up to it, because that is how we do the setup. With this room, I don't need to tell you how to go fast or how to optimize it. However, there is something important to take note of. In the run, you lay the power bomb here. That opens this door. That's how we do the room. Then we come up here. We do this. You can either kill this guy or lay the bomb on the ground. So I'll just do this real quick leading up to the actual trick. This is what I do in runs. I do this. I do this to reduce lag. And then I hug the wall on morph before the door shell is completely gone. Now, let me do this another way, like you would actually set it up. Now, you can kill this guy. The most important part of this is you are just trying to hug the door before it breaks. That's it. And you hold, run, and right. This gives you the setup that we use in runs to get this trick. Just hug the wall and hold right. Now, this trick is notoriously difficult. Why is it so difficult? Because the game runs at 60 frames per second. You have 1 frame to press jump. 1 frame. So let me do this. I'm going to make a save through here. So what we do in runs is we jump on the last possible frame, which is 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's on the 8th. Yeah, so on the 8th frame. So that is what, 140 milliseconds or so? So 140 or so, whatever that actually is, 16.65 milliseconds per frame, 8 frames. So you cannot react. You go, okay, well, how do you hit this trick then? You have 8 frames leading up, so you can't even see Samus move before the frame. So how do you get this consistently? Because in runs, we can actually do this. Some days I hit it almost every single time. The trick is, it's all just anticipation. So when I'm watching and looking for this frame, I'm anticipating Samus's first movements. So that can add an extra 10 frames, right? Because I see the room coming in. I'm anticipating the movement of Samus. It's all leading up to it. So it's not based off of a reaction when I see Samus move, because you cannot react 140 milliseconds. Good luck. However, you need to anticipate. So what I do is I'm seeing the room fade in, and I know when Samus is gonna move, right? I know the movement. You know, I kind of stop on a dime. I can almost even stop on the right frame. So I always tell people there's a couple things you can do. You can either anticipate and then see Samus's footstep. So Samus will take just one full step before hitting the water. As you can see, it's just almost just one full step where her right foot is leading into it. So you can kind of anticipate that and then try to make a reaction based off of that. However, one thing I started doing was, when I first started running the game, I watched the door a little bit. So I anticipate the door would be shutting. And then when I see that the door is around there, that's when I would try to jump. Now, as I said, you have to anticipate this. So this takes practice, because you can't just react. So you have to do this enough to where you go, okay, I know the door is going to close right there. Okay, that's the frame. Perfect. Right. So you can just do this enough to where you watch the door. Okay, I know it's going to shut, and then you just go for it. You cannot react. To recap, you cannot react to Samus's movement because it's only 8 frames. So you need to develop some sort of method to anticipate. Yeah, you do it by feeling. I do it by feeling now. For some reason, I always did it this way. I actually press jump with my pointer finger, which is stupid. I don't know. I've just always done this. And it works for me. When I go into this room, maybe it's just like how I press it down. It just has enough delay for me. So yeah. Now you get the first jump down. And let me say something. In runs, I don't get this consistently. I will sometimes jump early and go, oh shoot, I got a bomb jump, or I got a on spin because I was a frame early. So then we do this, not that. We don't do that. We just go ahead and do this, which is probably a whole different tutorial in and of itself, but I could try to explain it. So if I jump early like that, I know that I didn't get the frame, and then I go for this, the bomb jump. Now let's say you get the frame. What do you do next? Because what a lot of people do, and this is the biggest time loss that everyone experiences, they go, oh shoot, let me see if I can actually get this stupid frame. I got the frame. Now what? The fanfare is happening, and I always do this. Oh shoot, I fell into the water. So the method that I use for this is, let me turn the fanfare on. And I'm going to tell you my exact method, which is odd. Kind of a weird method, but it works for me, and it's how I do my timing. So we're going to hear the music. I have my thumb, and then I hear this last note, dum, and then I press the buttons. And this is what I do. Don't do this. But I always press the buttons the same way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Now this is just me being OCD, I think. So I hear the last note. And I tap the buttons that many times. It's probably like I wear the same pair of socks when I PB because I think it's going to help me. So I'm just anticipating. I'm like getting, getting a little anxious, whatever. So last note. That's all besides the point. You hear the last note. How the game works is until I push something, this will not go away. What I do is I'm holding right and I just am ready for jump button. So some people will just do a method to where they let the noise go away, and then they have a timing method down to where they like press and then jump. I don't like that. I want the room to be as quick as possible. I always want it to be the same. So what I do is I hold right. This is kind of hard to explain as well because I can't really make a save state on the fanfare. I apologize. And let me explain how this works. Let me do something here. This even works. Okay, let me explain from here. So at this point, I'm still holding right. The text box will start to go away and shrink. It's very quick. The text box then, this is 3 steps. Text box goes away. Text box disappears. There is a period to where Samus is not moving. And then Samus begins to move. You need to press jump after Samus starts moving, which means the way I do this, it's 3 steps. Text box, gone, and then Samus moves, and then I push. So 4, but I consider it 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3. All really quick steps. And I kind of, once I see the text box, I kind of like trip over the how do I explain this? So if you were to press, it's really hard to explain, Albert, because this is a very specific timing thing that you need to get used to. So if I were to press jump, the frame that the text box disappears and there is no black border anymore. It shrinks into a line and then it's gone. If I were to press it there, it wouldn't work. So what I mean by I trip it up, I like trip over the input, is I am delaying it just tiny. So I see it gone and then it's like tap, tap. So the first tap in my mind is when the text box in the line is gone. The second is my actual input. Ta-ta. So you have 2 frames that work for this. First frame of movement, second frame of movement, I believe. I think those are just the only 2 that work. So you have 33 milliseconds for this jump. Once again, it's all anticipation. I am anticipating the text box closing and yes, everything kind of leads up to it. So I just missed it, right? I was early there. If I were to look at my inputs, I didn't do the tap. I didn't delay it enough. The first jump, I have my own little way I push the buttons. And then text box closes, Samus starts to move, and I kind of lead into the input. Now, this trick is annoying. It's difficult. It's probably, it was at one point considered not feasible for runs. But just like anything else, you do it enough and it becomes, your brain just takes over, right? And it becomes somewhat consistent over time. So the only tips I can really give, you have to do this enough to where you see enough instances of the door closing, Samus moving, the screen fading in, so you have an idea of how everything looks in correlation with everything else. So you have to try to take in as much information as you can here. Oh, we got it. Perfect. And then with this, when you get this, I almost recommend practicing with the fanfare on, because without the fanfare, it closes quickly and you don't kind of have that anticipation. Like for me, I listen to the last note and then I kind of go into, my weird wear the same pair of socks taps that I do always before. Even before full halfie, I do the same thing. I have a certain number of taps that I press before I do that room. It's, you just need to develop some sort of method for yourself, I guess. Now, bomb jumps are kind of confusing. This is definitely tricky, bomb jumps, because it's not just you press, you hold back, and then you go. You can't do that. You have to specifically be pressing the D-pad in a way to where Samus stops momentum because you're only pressing the D-pad input for less than 3 frames or 4 frames. So I can try to explain this step by step the best I can. First step, I'm gonna break this down in steps. You lay the bomb, probably past the halfway point on the pillar. About that. I do it wherever I land now because I'm stupid, but if you're starting off, you will probably want to do it right here. Next. Wall jumps faster, but you don't always get the wall jump. It's a 1 frame trick, so yeah. First step, lay the bomb, press right. That's step 1. Lay the bomb, press right. So you get this explosion. That's step 1. Step 2, if you watch the bomb, there is a brief period of time where the bomb speeds up in color change. You see that? You see how it speeds up? Watch. You see the color changing, and it speeds up briefly at the end. When that color change occurs, you're going to lay another bomb. The steps will look like this. That's step 1, just like that. Step 2, when you see the color change, Now, once again, this is anticipation. You kind of have to be ready for this because I don't know how many frames there are when you see the speeding up. You have to do this enough to where you understand when the bomb is going to speed up. So you kind of just need to get used to that. How this works is if the bomb is above like that, you see how the bomb's above the second one? I know that's going to work every time. If I do this, that's probably not going to work. You see how it's still on the ground and I pressed it quite early? That was last frame and that worked. However, anything earlier than that doesn't work. So, to recap. Step 1, lay the bomb, press right. Step 2, wait for the speed up. Lay another bomb. That was early. That was kind of late. That was perfect. Step 3. This is where a lot of people get confused, and this is a mechanical thing and technical thing with the game. So when I come back to this bomb, I am coming back to get that second explosion, right? To hit that one, that explosion. So let's pretend that I just hold right on my D-pad here when I come back to get to the next one. I actually don't know if this will work unless I lay the other bomb. Well, first of all, I can't forget the second bomb. That's a pretty important step. So before I even get to this, let me show you the most important step, the second bomb, and then I'll talk about the nuance here. Second bomb is a timing thing for me specifically. It's tap tap. That's it. In my head, tap tap. It's always tap tap. I have the rhythm down, and it's just ingrained in my brain. Sometimes I'm a little bit early and I make those adjustments and runs, but for the most part, it's 1, 2. Another way you can look at it, I guess, is when you get to the peak, you kind of see the bomb. You kind of see Morph Ball stop at a certain point. Because you press back right. So when I do this, I press back to the left. Sorry, back to the left. You can kind of see like the apex of the bomb jump, or the morph ball as well. So you can see how high the morph ball goes, and you can lay it about at the height. So that's another way you can do it. I just do it up based off of timing. I'll tap tap. Okay. Now we got that step down. The most important step, and this is where people get confused, and let me show you what people do. I'm just gonna hold right when I get back here. See that? I launch, and it doesn't do me any good. That was not holding right. See that? I'm launching. And people go, oh, how does this work? I can't figure out bomb jumps. Because I'm not getting that second one. Here's what you have to do. When you are coming back to this bomb right there, you have to briefly, and I'm talking like frames. If you do it over like 4 frames, it doesn't work. Watch the top left of my screen, and you'll see this input, that input right there, right. You see how brief that is? There's 2 taps because I tap because I need to be holding right. See that? You see that little left or that right tap in there? It needs to be extremely brief. If you don't make it brief, Samus will launch. So, this is the most important step, I think, of this whole thing, other than the second bomb jump, or the second bomb lay. Okay. So that's what it should look like. Barely tap the right input, and you should have something that looks like that. Okay, you get all this down. Now, after this other tap, you have to press right again. You have to repress right. Well, I actually don't know if you have to, but I do. Because you have to do something, you have to unmorph here to make this ledge. Sometimes, not all the time. or else that can happen. So you need to be holding right. So you do the quick tap on the way back, brief tap, and then I repress right. You have to sometimes. Well, there's always like little nuances that I don't even think of because I've done this thousands of times. The final step is to on-morph about right there. About right there. See that? On-morphing kind of stops the speed that you have in morph, and then it allows Samus to kind of float a little bit to the platform. So I know that this is confusing, and I hope I covered some of the issues that you may face, because this is something that takes people quite a while to get, but it's also something that if you run this category, it's kind of a mandatory thing to know. You got it first day? That's great, Albert. Congratulations. So yeah, this is kind of a mandatory thing to know. Because if you mess this CWJ up and runs, you're not going to keep going for it with this setup. Now, let me explain one more thing. So we got bomb jumping down, kind of. Get the practicing. It'll be consistent for you. I promise. It takes time. So, if you play with Moonwalk on, there is a setup that you can use to go for CWJ again. And let me show you that. Let's pretend I come into the room, which this happens frequently because it's last frame. You're jumping last frame. What will happen is you'll fall into the water like this and go, shoot, I'm on a really good pace. I got to hurry up and back this trick up. You fall into the water. What I do is I open the door. I angle up. Angle up is important. And then I moonwalk. Tiny little bits at a time. Until I see... You see Samus's green? There's like 3 pixels. The green visor. Once the green visor hits the door, that's... This frame works, but it turns this trick into 2 frame perfect tricks. So this first jump is frame perfect, and the second jump is frame perfect. We don't want this. What we want is 1 more pixel. Right there. If I go a pixel back, the door loads. So this is as far back as we can go. So you see Samus's green visor touching the door. This is what I go for in runs. If I come in here and I go, shoot, I missed it. I do this. I quickly tap into position. I see that it's touching, and then I go for the trick again. Sometimes I'll land here, not getting the CWJ, but then I just go for bomb jump. And then if I get CWJ, then I just go for it like normal because the item will still be there. Continuous wall jump. So I think that covers pretty much everything. And let me put one thing to rest because people ask this question every goddamn day like they're... Let me show you guys something. This is what everyone always... I don't know if Chad's going to keep this in there, but everyone always goes, oh, it's why don't you CWJ on the way back, bro? Because it's fucking ridiculously hard. There is a setup for it. But the setup is almost slower. Or you can just wing it and hope that you hit the frame perfect shit. Let me show you what this room looks like. How many attempts I gotta do to actually get this stupid CWJ. It's dumb. This is why we don't do this in runs. Everyone always asks, why don't we CWJ on the way back? This is why. Look how many times it's taken me to even get it once. I haven't got it a single time yet. You set it up correctly? No, isn't there a setup that actually just is slow as shit? I'm showing the only practical way to do this to save time. I thought there was a setup that actually was slightly slow. So I'm showing chat the only way that this makes sense to do it. Hold on, chat. I'm gonna get there. Don't worry. You're gonna see. I'm making an example out of chat when they always ask this every single time I get here. Don't worry, it's coming, chat. I'm gonna get this eventually. I'm gonna make it save time. This is what you asked for. Oh, it's... Why don't you just do that, bro? Ah. You morphed into the missile pillar and bounced. Oh, wow. Thank you, Dendroid. Oh, dude, why don't you do exactly what you always do? Yes, CWJ is quicker, but it's stupid. There is a setup for it, but the setup loses you time. I feel like the setup... Doesn't the setup lose you time just over this? I know this is how Drewski scammed out the spreadsheet on... I beat his time here. Because I was like, what the hell did he do? Oh, he did a CWJ like this, so I scammed it as well. What is the time save for the impossible CWJ? 20 frames. I mean, actually, it's a little bit less because you don't do... So if I was grinding this room and I was a scammer like Drewski, you shoot the door open and you mock ball through. Anyways, that is what we call an unproductive strat. We do not go for that shit. It's garbage. Thank you for watching. Get the practicing. If you have any questions, please come into the Twitch stream and ask. So yeah, thanks for watching.